Manager for the Department of Customer Service, and to my right is Director Joy Quarles, who oversees our customer service delivery initiatives. So before you on the screen highlights our vision. So our vision for the department is to be a world-class customer service center for the city of Atlanta. We want to create, support, and sustain the community through easy access to all city services. Our mission is to provide simple and convenient services to the public, but sharing information around government services as well as case submission. We are in alignment with Mayor Dickens' administration pillars, where we are highlighting a city of opportunity for all. And so we are in agreement with that. Our organizational structure has somewhat changed from last fiscal year. We will add next fiscal year a deputy commissioner role, and also we have, under our directors, we have changed some of the team organizational structure to make sure we are in alignment with what's needed for the business. Some of our fiscal year 23 highlights. Of course, you just heard from AIM, we implemented a chatbot. So this is now integrated into our mobile app, our IVR, and our portal. And we are continuing to enhance those areas to ensure that our services are indeed simple and convenient for our customers. At the moment, we have over 800 use cases that we added to those technology areas. And so that means customers could submit almost anything into that system, case submission, and then our team will follow through to ensure that the department receives it for resolution. We've attended over 90 community meetings and events thus far. Our social media team that so many of you use was named a finalist in the 2023 Golden Post Award, so we were proud of their accomplishments here. We also increase overall agent productivity and continue to exceed all performance metrics. So our agents are knocking it out the box, so we just salute them each day. Also, we've implemented a biannual employee satisfaction survey because our employees matter to us, and we want to ensure that we hear them, and we try our best to implement those that will be beneficial for the growth and overall experience for our team. We have started the RFP process with procurement, and as of today, and this again is to replace our existing CRM application with a more robust end-to-end solution. As of today, I will be reaching out to DOP because they reached out to me while we've been here to make a final recommendation on how to move forward. So hopefully we will definitely have an update for you very soon. Some additional highlights is we're continuing to cross-train all our agents to handle all calls, and we've seen where this has helped in our metrics, so our call times and our handle times are it's doing well. You know, we don't have that issue we had before to where customers are holding 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Now you're talking about 20 seconds, right? 25 seconds. We also created the Path Forward initiative for a healthy call center environment. And we've seen where when you incentivize, motivate, and encourage your team, you see immediate and good change. So we're happy to see that, and it also helped our attrition tremendously. We've implemented text surveys for callers already, so I was happy that question came up, so you have the ability to text us. We've implemented surveys for all case types, so not just phones, but we have call us, text us, go through our portal, mobile app, in the community, and we make sure that we provide surveys so that we can hear the voice of the customer on how we can improve our services. We partnered with MARTA, Hope Outreach Program. We partnered with APD 911 for public indecency calls, and we partnered with United Way 211 to enhance the way we share information. And so I'm proud of the work that Director Quarles and her team have done here, and this is in regards to our PAD initiative. In addition, we partnered with Partners for Home to complete self-referral homelessness assessments, and we also have the ability to book available emergency shelter beds. Next, you will hear from Business Manager Marshall, or Fawcett, because she just recently got married. So, Brianna Fawcett.
All right. So for the FY24 total operating budget, you will see, if you look at the chart where it says budget trend in millions, you'll see we're looking at FY21 through FY24 proposed, and what you'll see for the general fund, because we are a split-funded organization, so for the general fund in blue, you'll see that we've basically been trending upwards starting from FY21 to our FY24 proposed budget. For the watershed, which is in the middle, the orange, you'll see that we've been trending down over the years. For FY24 proposed, we're at $2.95 million for the proposed budget, and then at the top you'll see solid waste. And we basically we had a rise in FY22, but then we've trended down again into FY24, and we're at $850,000 that were proposed for this year. For the FY24 headcount breakdown, oh, and I'm sorry, let me also say this, the increase for general fund is mostly where our biggest high call volume drivers are, so that's PAD, ADOT, Finance, and APD, to name a few. So that's what that increase is. For FY24 headcount breakdown, you will see that we are mostly a split-funded department with most of our employees being split-funded, so that's why the numbers look like that. So general fund is split at 45%, watershed split at 40%, and solid waste at 15%. But the total that you'll see for the headcount for FY24 is 131 FTEs. And then for our personnel budget, I'm sorry, is that? Yeah, that's it. You'll see that we have an increase from last year of 423,000. And then, like I said before, our FY24 headcount is 131 FTEs. That is just one position more than FY23, and that comes from a position that's going to be transferred from another office. For key personnel data, to date in FY23, DCS has had an average retention rate of 75% with an average vacancy rate of funded positions for 25%. For operating, we've mostly pretty much stayed the same. In our general fund budget, we've remained absolutely flat, but in our other two funds, we've only gone down $8. So it's pretty much a flat from last year. And again, our overall budget increase will be $423,000.
And also I want to add on this, our technology will be provided by AIM, so that oversight will remain in AIM, our technology budget. Okay.
For our FY24 summary of operations by major category, for our operational areas, we have the ATL311 operations, which includes our call center, as well as our workforce management. We have innovation, performance, and accountability, which includes our data and technology team. For the customer service delivery team, we have a large group of under there: social media, QA and training, Notify ATL, PAD, ambassadors, and our community outreach. And then for the business management and office administration, we have payroll, contracts, budget, and open records. And then one that's not listed here is the senior leadership team, but that is commissioner's office as well as the deputy commissioner. And then for our FY24 proposed budget across all funds, we are at 7.97 that's proposed, 7.97 million. Purchase contracts, 300,000, and operating costs will be around 40,000.
So the way forward, so in fiscal year 24, some of our priorities are focusing on our hiring processes. So we will ensure to support immediate infrastructure gaps. We will improve our alignment and coordination among infrastructure initiatives with other departments. We will continue to enhance our technology, create a better customer service experience via the chatbot, via the CRM. And here, as you said, we will also move as fast as we can, but to ensure that an enterprise CRM system is in place. In addition to that, we will add a live agent feature on the web. Currently, you know, if someone calls into or use a chatbot by phone, by mobile app, they can get connected to an agent, but we will add that feature for the portal, and that will be overseen by Joy's team, back office team. Some strategic partnerships, we will increase accessibility of services provided by PAD, continue to alleviate pressure off the 911 system, and create a partnership with AFRD to help citizens utilize ATL311 services. We will increase alignment, coordination, and collaboration for service delivery with departments. We will close the customer feedback loop with the new CRM that we are proposing to bring on. However, we will continue some manual processes as well, especially around code enforcement, so we're working very closely with them to find different ways to close that customer feedback loop. Some internal and external promotions of the supportive services team to educate our constituents, we will be doing that. And also for the Year of the Youth, as not listed here, we will engage our partners to participate in this initiative, the Year of the Youth. Some additional priorities we will focus on is strengthening our core. So this means developing a centralized call center, system integrations, optimizing our business processes by streamlining workflows, and focusing on employee morale. So though we're doing a good job here, I think you can never be too careful in this area. You have to always look at ways to improve morale. So we're looking at balancing workloads and exceeding service level goals for the year, but also focusing on the agent's self-care, mental care. So we're bringing on EAP to provide training for them on how to handle those difficult calls and how to also take care of themselves as well. We're creating internal career development paths to identify and retain our top talent, and cultivating a workplace environment focused on positive workplace culture. And data is important. This data helps us to provide decisions, make decisions in the city, so we will continue to be transparent. We will continue to share this data with all of you as well as with our departments and our customers. And we will continue to forecast changes in eliminating redundancies in processes to improve process outputs. So if you look at the bottom right, we've already started to be very transparent with our data. So every month on social media, we're putting out how many calls we're handling, the percentage of calls we've handled, as well as emails, faxes, everything that a customer could submit via a case, we're making sure to share that data with our customers. And that concludes our report. Any questions?
All right, Commissioner, thank you for your report. We'll go ahead and start the queue for questions. I'll start with Councilmember Collier Overstreet.
Thank you, and congratulations,
Thank
Commissioner.
you.
So just right quick, as I was going through with you all, I found a couple slides to be different, and I'm trying to see which numbers are the right ones.
Yes,
and
so
if the
we
ones you
were-
were displaying there are correct, if you could get those to us?
Yes, we provided that, so the budget team does have that, so
Okay.
we could, if you all can share that with them. So what we've done is that we took out page 7, and we've also took out, because page 6 and 7 are redundant, that's why. And also we were advised to take out or to add on slide 7, 131 funded FTEs instead of
Right.
130, so.
And that's what I noticed. I just wanted to know which one was the correct one, and it also said that there are different numbers for the operating budget, you know, the decrease and the overall budget increase. They're just
Yes.
different.
Yes, that
And this
was,
is what you displayed here is the correct one.
yes, that's
Got
correct.
it. I just want that one then.
Okay, well,
Okay,
make sure you
thank
get it.
you
You're
for-
welcome.
For your presentation.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Shook, followed by Shipman.
Thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about your ratio of vacant funded positions?
The ratio of our vacant and funded. So on so right now we are funded, and you can talk to this as well. We're funded, so our field is at 87 for fiscal year 23, and our vacant funded is at 43 vacancies. So we did go through a small hiring freeze, so now we're in the process of onboarding new talent. And so we hope to be fully onboarding new talent by end of this fiscal year.
And are you saying you are hoping to fill all of these vacancies?
The majority of it. So at least 20 of those are agent-related, and so that would not be filled this fiscal year, but we would start the process of doing that in June. However, the remaining number will be for our administrative side of the house, so onboarding new directors, new trainers, and quality assurance individuals. So that is what you see here, that vacancy number.
What would you say, well, do you think that if you added up those two columns, that would be the correct number for you to adequately perform your operations?
That's correct. That would be the number needed.
And is this higher than traditional vacancy rate?
Did you say it's a higher?
Higher than usual vacancy rate?
It is, and I think some of that attributed to, when I first started into this role, we had a high attrition, and then we went into a hiring freeze, and then we were just recently granted the approval to move forward with hiring. So I think it is higher, but right now, thankfully, we are at a good place where we're retaining, right, and we're not losing any individuals.
All right, good to hear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Shipman, or Council President Shipman, sorry.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you for all your work. In many ways, you are the front door to the city for so many people. And so as improvements happen, people feel better about the city and about their experience. Just a few questions. One, just on the ATL311 data radar, I'm just curious, you have a lot of channels now that people can get to you. They can come through the web, come through the chat bot, send you a tweet, call. I'm just curious if you think about your preference. What's the preference? How would you prefer people come to you, either because it's most efficient or because it's most cost efficient? Just talk a little bit about that.
So our goal is to offer self-service options, right, which would be our preference. However, we know that with our senior citizen population, phone is priority, so we would definitely always have phone. But if customers that are comfortable with using our portal or our social media channels or the chatbot, that would be great. That will also alleviate a lot of the calls coming through to our agents because they average about 30,000 plus, 30 to 45,000 calls a month. And so if the other channels are used, that will help, them.
Gotcha.
So, self-service.
Gotcha. And just going to the strategic partnerships for a moment, you talked about the increasing accessibility of services provided by PAD, alleviating pressure on 911, and creating partnerships with AFRD. Could you talk about any barriers to those things happening? Because obviously there's technology pieces of that, there's process pieces of that, there's just availability pieces of that, right? I mean, services provided by PAD, we've expanded them, we've funded them, but obviously there's a limit on how much they can handle in any one day or any 1 week. Could you just talk about each of those three different areas, and if we're sitting here a year from now, what needs to happen in order for those to really be effective?
Great question. I'm going to defer to Director Quarles.
Good afternoon. So with PAD, what will help to start that process is the diversion center. Because currently in the evenings, PAD closes when we close at 7 p.m. But the goal is to go 24/7. In order for that goal to happen, PAD will have to have somewhere to take individuals. And so the opening of the diversion center would be great, a great start. Also funding, PAD, per PAD, they need more funding in order to staff individuals to have a night crew to go out, and for security type reasons, they will want to have more than one individual go out at night. So funding for employees as well. 911. So we started our partnership with E911 last August, and we started with public indecency calls. It's actually been really great. So if someone calls into 911 and it's a public indecency call and it's not on private property, they can switch the call over to 311. And we have the experience, they trained, 911 actually trained our team, the supportive services team. So we're taking those calls. This fall, we're gonna start with another call to alleviate 911, which will be panhandling. Right now, we're in the works of that. We're getting our team staffed up, we're getting our team trained so we can have that collaboration. And then next is RFD. So Fire has saw the work that we've done with PAD and 911, and they're like, hey, can we help, you take some of our calls and help us out. So we're in the works of looking at that data as well to see how we can help the fire department as well.
And are those through a queue? Is that, so how does it, just I'm curious how it works logistically.
Yes, so we're the first option on 311. So if you call into 311 and it'll say, do you like help with supportive services? And it gives like a definition, homelessness, poverty, that's our first call, and you would have to speak to a live agent because of we would have to ask specific questions about the individual that need assistance. You would not be able to do social media or anything. We would have to speak to live directly to that person. And as well as we formed a partnership with Partners for Home. And so all of our agents on the supportive services team is HMIS certified, which stands for the Homeless Management Information System. So if someone calls and says, I have nowhere to go, it's freezing at night and I'm, scared to be out, we can actually schedule a shelter bed, reserve a bed for them, because what we saw when we did the numbers is if someone goes to spend their last amount to get on MARTA to go to a shelter and the shelter is full. So now they can call us, they can call us in the morning and we can reserve that bed for them that evening.
Gotcha. And just lastly, I know that you do a lot of efforts in marketing to make sure that people know about 311 and know about all the channels where I started my questioning. Do you feel like you have enough marketing happening and enough marketing support, or are there ways in which you think that actually would help usage and the overall experience?
So we're ramping back up our marketing efforts. In the past, we thought about teaming up with MARTA at one time, wrapping the buses, so we may go back to that to see if it's feasible. We thought about billboards as well, so we'll go back to that. But we are consistently in the community and we share the services. We do ask that City Council help us to share as well. That would be helpful. And also departments to share on, so on social media, if departments can just reshare what we put out. And the mayor has been instrumental in sharing it. So Joy and I both have been on radio, TV, and we share as far as we can, right? But it would take all of us here in the city to do it. So we are definitely back to ramping it up.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you, Commissioner and team.
Good to see you too.
Just a quick question that I've been kind of marinating on with Councilmember Bakhtiari brought this up with CIO Sankey, and one of the challenges that we hear all the time is, these systems don't talk to each other. My ticket got closed, and I don't know what's happening with it. With the existing system that we have, I recognize that the Department of Public Works work order system and ATL311's ticketing system isn't talking to this 311 system, but within the existing 311 system, is it possible to even just put a note or something that is public facing that, hey, this was referred to this entity on this date within the existing system? So even though these systems aren't talking, at least something additional is being communicated to the general public so that I don't get angry phone calls about my ticket getting closed out.
So ADOT and Public Works use our system.
Okay.
But I do think as soon as something is escalated, we issue, we follow up with the commissioner and his team to get the work resolved. Please do the same. Send all your escalations to us and we'll review it just to see what happened, because sometimes it could be just an error, right? Or it could be the field may have closed it for a reason, but then notate it. And that'll give us the opportunity to reach out to that field person to figure it out. And sometimes it's just system error, right? So, but the only departments that sort of use something different is Watershed. Even though they still use our system, they also have additional systems that they use as well for their customers. And then code enforcement uses Acela. Of course, municipal court is on Benchmark. But those core services they are on our system, ADOT Public Works.
Well, even without the escalation, because I'll submit 311 tickets as well, just I'm out and about and just make sure it gets logged, because the data that y'all collect is invaluable to us so that we can make sure there's long-term action that's taken. The challenge is I still see a ticket gets completed, but don't always see what was the action taken by the 301 team, and whether that's done through a pick list, whether that's done through an open notes field. I think that by itself will alleviate 90% of communication challenges that folks have about what's actually happened with that request. Like, this was done on this date, and then, okay, I know what that, at the very least, that last step that was taken is.
I agree, and so what we've done is we're trying to improve that departmental collaboration, because we're asking the field to please put notes in, because sometimes they will close it and we don't even know what happened, right? So we are working closely and bringing that up to the departments, so like, please keep us informed. Because
So it's
even
possible it's just a training gap?
yeah.
Okay.
It's a training gap, so Director Kors and I have spoken about this, and to do some type of training with the back office teams as well, just to ensure that we are all in alignment, because if we don't have the notes, we run into the same thing you do as well. So the departments are doing better, but they are, there's room for improvement.
Because one of the things that I take back to my constituents is, we're updating the CRM, the systems are going to talk to each other. It's going to be the just amazing, utopia in terms of how all this works together. But in this interim period, I just think, there's some things that we could be doing that alleviates those challenges. And it sounds like y'all are thinking about that as well. And just let us know what we can do to support those efforts, whether as we have our conversations with Public Works and ATL DOT and upcoming budget conversations or in our quarterly reports to our committees, that's something that we should and can be advocating for, to ensure that the systems are working, even though we have a promised land that we're working towards, that those intermediate steps are being done to get our constituents to.
Will do, and I must say those commissioners are in alignment with us as well. So, as we escalate, they do hold folks accountable if it's on their side, and we do the same on our side if it's our team. But we will continue to enhance that process.
And I guess just thinking out loud, having managed the CRM with specifically Salesforce, where there's ways you can prevent end users from even saving a record if certain data fields aren't completed or certain information isn't added. So just additional food for thought to take some of the human error out of that process, and just, you haven't updated this particular field, you can't save it and complete it out, and that's a reminder for them to do so. So just thinking out loud.
We agree. Currently, we're not able to do that so much in this current system, but that is definitely one of the requirements in our new system.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sharing you.
Councilmember Bakhtiari.
Hey, Commissioner. Hey, team.
How you doing?
Well, first, thank y'all for always talking with me about every issue and for working with me on everything. I was taking a call, so I apologize for not being here during the other questions, so I apologize if some of these questions are redundant. I was going to ask where you felt your biggest gaps were and how we could be most helpful, because obviously, while succeeding means that... You want to help again, Alex? Because obviously you all succeeding means that we get less angry messages and screaming constituents. Also, just because obviously we want to make sure that we rebuild, we keep faith in our systems. So where do y'all feel that you need the most assistance from us?
Yeah, and just know, you are reaching out to us. We enjoy it because it helps us to stay on our toes and to help us think about ways we can improve. So please continue to reach out. But I think for us, we had started off having meetings with you all, so I think we probably will go back to that soon, just to get your input, because it matters to us, and because sometimes you hear things we may not hear.
Yes.
So anything that you hear in the community, in your districts, please send it our way. Director Crows and I, we'll sit down and meet with you anytime, because we want the same thing you all want. We want to see our customer service enhanced, improved, and we want to, like I said, make it simpler and convenient, but it would take all of us to do that. So please, anything that you hear, just let us know. Anything else you want to add?
I would add to spread the word. Spread the word what 311 does, the different programs we have, supportive services, just everything that we do, just, I would say, spread the word.
I believe Watershed at one point had been talking about, I know the commissioner told me last year that they were working on some sort of like info video to educate more people on DWM. Has there been anything?
Well,
that
we've done
discussed with
inserts, so in their mailers, we've added inserts before. Mayor's Office of Communications have been strong advocates for us. We've been on radio and TV. We've out in the community sharing as well about our services. So, but anything you can do, and I know you do a great job as well as the others of sharing the word.
You can say it's just me.
Sharing the word, so that helps.
No, it's a pre-roll, obviously, something that would work in my district. One of the youngest districts in the city, pretty much nobody does cable in my district. We have a 75% OTT match rate over the top, so cord cutters, so pre-roll on doing Instagram, Facebook, but also Hulu, YouTube TV, all these things which are much cheaper than commercials. So I will also bring that up to the mayor's comms team. Because that would go a long way in our district, and I know that my district picks up a lot of your calls. So I will, if we can discuss that, that would be fantastic. And I also wanted to ask about the budget piece. I believe we talked, so a portion comes from general fund, but does most of the money come from, is it other departments putting funding into 311? Do y'all have your own budget? That's always something I've always been a bit confused on.
So we're split funded out of 3 funds. So general fund is 45%, solid waste is 15%, and watershed is 40%.
Giving y'all a total of how much?
It's about 85% from the 2, and when the remaining coming from, well, it's 45 from general fund and DWM 40, so you're looking at about 85. So it ends up to be 100% total.
And it's about an amount, how many millions of dollars that does that give y'all to run your?
That we're granted this year, you asking?
How
much money do y'all get in total from those things, or do you not know yet because it's only?
Yeah,
It's only
7.97 is the proposed, 7.97 million is the proposed.
And you all have how many staff?
So we are funded 131, we'll be 131 in fiscal year '24. Right now, we're 130.
You operate 131 people. You do that off of the $7.97 million budget?
Yes.
How many, I'm sorry, but how much
So our budget actually increased from last fiscal year and the years before. So with the proposed budget we have this coming fiscal year, it will work.
And how much, what is your starting salary for folks within 311?
So for agent-based, they come in at 36, and then once they pass training, they go up 10%.
Mr. Ingram, I just want to make note that that's not a livable wage. We should probably make note of that. Okay. To be very, this is not a you all, I don't know. That's just.
And we did give our agents an increase this fiscal year.
Yes, okay.
And our goal is to continue to do that, but we are looking at what happens with the classification and compensation study.
Okay. $8 million to run a customer service department with 131 or 141 employees?
131.
131. That's not enough money. Okay, and how, do y'all have a projection of how much it would cost to get y'all to 24/7?
So the projections, not yet, but we know that PAD is needing additional funding for what we were told. And so they have come up, and this is to cover their resources, the additional people on the ground for the services in the evening, as well as their safety. So for us, we know what we need on our side based on some of the metrics, and when we work 24 hours to support E911 now, we pretty much have a basis of what we need. However, we know we have partners, and we are waiting for them to get up to par with being able to go 24 hours.
And for the record, every agent that answers your phone is HMIS certified?
No.
No.
This is supportive services
Just support
team.
services team. But that's still a very big deal. So, okay. I'm just still confused by the financial breakdown. That confusion has nothing to do with you all. And I'm also confused, again, that if you are taking low-lying offenses, such as public indecency, off of 911's plates, why there isn't funding going from APD or 911 also, why a percentage of your funds aren't also coming out of those departments if you're assisting with freeing up call time for those departments.
And so those departments are in the general fund, so we've seen an increase in that area. So although we don't have our own budget,
Yeah.
it's shared, or split funded, it did increase, the general fund increase for us.
Okay. Okay. 8 million for 131 people, I don't, okay, thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I mean, I feel like we see each other so much in finance. Exactly, we've been going through a lot of this data and your work and the importance of, as Council President Shipman said, I mean, really are the most front-facing department that we have at the city, and it's important that y'all be successful so that the city is successful. I appreciate all the work that y'all are doing to continue to lift and improve the system, and that you're taking our feedback, both in terms of the things that are going great, but then also, like Councilmember Dozier said, some of the challenges that we're hearing about and that we're experiencing as well. And at some point, we'll get the system humming the way it should be, but it's going to, yes.
Well, just to that point, one quick anecdote. I tweeted one day that there was a traffic crossing button that was not working on Freedom Parkway, and immediately got a response. The case number had been created, and within about a week it was fixed, because I run by there all the time. And so there are great examples every year of things that work. So as much as we push on it on the other side, it does work, and so thank you.
Thank you, President, thank you.
And so just continue as we do the quarterly presentations at FEC, just continue that. Yeah, I did want to echo that I've heard same thing, Councilmember Bakhtiari, that PAD has some additional funding needs in terms of some of the initiatives they want to launch. So I've asked her to make sure she reaches out to one of us to let us know what that looks like.
Yes, and also to follow up on that, can we also find out how much, this may not be the commissioner, but maybe finance can assist. I would like to know how much Fulton County is also putting towards that, because I think it's beyond time that we also start holding them accountable and assisting us with paying for these services, given that it should be more, to your point, Councilmember Overstreet, because obviously we want it paid for, but they also need to do their jobs.
So for PAD or for?
For PAD.
For PAD, yeah.
Because
Okay.
that they need additional assistance, which will inevitably help 311.
Gotcha.
But because we're footing not only the bill, but also the labor, we should know how much county commission's putting into it as well.
So Moki, hopefully if you're out there listening, just know that either me or Councilmember Bakhtiari are waiting to hear from you. If there's nothing else, thank you again for the presentation. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the great work. All right, colleagues, with that, we stand completed for today. We're going to get out a little early. We will return tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for Department of Human Resources, followed at 11 by Public Works. And then in the afternoon, 1 o'clock Watershed, 2 o'clock Aviation, and 3 o'clock the new Department of Labor. All right, so thank you. We stand adjourned.